Yo, what's up? I'm here. Gonna be trying out INTERVALLO. Just prepping my team for something earlier, so...
이번에 읽어줄 동화책은 이것으로.
I look from beyond the glass window as the sinners batter furiously inside the large indoor arena. You damned imbeciles, what's the point of everyone rushing at the same enemy that's already staggered and nearly dead? Oh, there's no voice time. Boss had attacked the entity first. The blame lies flatly with the others to lay the decisions. Apologies, yet concerned was I that to not dispose swiftly of that foe would. I think this is a great show of team. I had no idea how hopeless the sinners were in battle without my command. Damn it, why won't any of you listen to my orders? Or your genius order was how the last head had ended up dangling from 1/4 of the neck. 1/4 of a neck. I had. It was a necessary sacrifice to gain an edge in battle. Worry thee not. How fitting of a hero is it to perish of Canon and her compatriot. Oh! What has happened? Junkie! Junkie at the falls before the merciless onslaught of enemies. I had so many things I had wanted to say to them, most of which were variations of "you're doing it wrong." But I had no choice but to watch as their woefully abysmal decisions continued to bungle the fight. If I tried, the researchers next to me will get in my way, claiming that they haven't finished collecting the data. This one's reaction speed to emergencies is exceptionally fast. So, can I help them now? Oh, you can't even, can he understand them? Please stop pacing and compose yourself. We're almost done here. That should be more than enough data. Take control, manager. So, what happened? I had a lot I wanted to say, but let's help the sinners out of this bind first. What happened? What happened to make them go into situation? Oh, they're fighting against themselves. They're fighting against themselves. Huh?
필통의 의지만 있다면.
I gotta do something.
날 뛰어보라고.
불가 이야기 막아내지 못해. 꿰뚫려라.
How do I lower the bitrate?
날 뛰어보라고.
Give me a sec. Oh, let me just do that.
시간이다. 잔우에.
What has happened? I heard ego. What is this? What's going on? 12, 44, 41. One's dead. I'm gonna go try this out.
가족을 위해
Thank you.
내가 너를 위해 기도할 것이니 넌 반드시 부서진다.
43.
이 심장이 잠깐쯤
불가이야. 막아내지 못하리.
더 날뛰어. 씹는 맛이야.
이제 깨우치시겠다.
That went well. As expected of our executive manager, the exceptional development of your strategy genius reminds me of the earlier years of my career. Thanks. You got anything to snack on, guys? I'm starving here after that brawl. You will maintain an empty stomach for the duration of the tests. Next on the docket is... I would have asked Mersault for a massage if I knew this was coming. Whose idea was this, anyway? Oh, if you really want to get into it, we could trace this right back to your vacation request, Gregor. Not that this would happen without that, but yeah. What? Oh, come on, Phyllis. There's got to be more to it than that. What's happening with us? Sure, there was. Not that it would have made any difference. Because, like Ishmael said, this all began with Gregor's stretching? What? What did Gregor do?
모처럼 괜찮은 예술을 보나 했더니 벌써 목, 애를 전부 채웠군. 방지할 사고도 해야 할 뒤처리도 없나. 돌아가지.
Whoa, that sound just now. I didn't know a human body could make a sound like that. Oh, I was just used to treasures. Can't seem to do them without making these noises nowadays. Huh? What do you mean you can't? That's right. That right there is the creaky sound of time ravages sink. Ooh. I know Dante has been turning the clock to rewind our time, but I feel like my joints are starting to grate. I know what you mean. I definitely don't feel as spryly as I used to. Maybe the pain from repeatedly dying and reviving takes a toll after all. Yeah, dying sure is a pain. That's when Honglu flippantly threw out an innocent comment. I miss the complaining sinners. Speaking of which, isn't it funny how Don Quixote is totally fine even though she's hundreds of years old? She's got to be the oldest out of all us by a law, right? So it's became awkward now. Honglu's unprompted catapulting of such heavy subject brought the busy air inside the bus to a sudden, stifling halt. I thought we were going to take some time to actually broach that subject, but you just bulldozed right through the mess, huh? I must have made things awkward. I didn't realize everyone was so sensitive about their age. That's test not to concern thyself. Be not so. Of course, there was also someone who could not care less about the bus air quality. Oi, Scoot. That's my designated C. You're planting your arse on and I'll walk ya. On the other hand, here's this guy who found a car on the road. Almost makes me wonder if he even remembers what just happened. Well, maybe this is your chance to get back at him for treating you so harshly, Don Quixote. I'm sure you can. Sing. I've never seen your eyes sparkle like that before. I am quite fond of the current temperament of our company. Unless young Hinccup here will suddenly morphs into a villainous scoundrel, I have nary the wish to exact violence upon him. Right, now that's over with, let's all shut up and keep chinwag to a minimum, yeah? Seems plenty villainous dickish to me. Anyways, am I the only one thinking that it's about time we got the thing? Well, you know, the thing that we tried a while ago, but didn't get to enjoy due to some unforeseen issues. That would be... Okay, deathmatch. Not that. Don't you remember? We even played volleyball by that big body of water. Textual clues suggest that this is, he's making a request for a vacation. Yep, absolutely, yep. Let's all go to a spa or something, relax, get massages to loosen up our muscles, some please. We still have expectations for our employees. Aha, I recall that young Mursal had given quite the exquisite massage. Hath he not? I have an astute knowledge of the major muscular groups and nerve structures of the human body. For many weeks following that massage, my body was deprived of any sensory stimulation. What happened to that massage? Thus understood, it was philosophically a Mr. physical therapy that the most infallible, I don't know how to say, what is this? Thoroughly of valences. From pain is to remove any and all stimulation, including that of pain. It seems that the time is here. So that's when they stop using voices for like all these like mini things. Vegulous. Yes, I knew that this day would eventually come. The day's here. Why is everyone acting so serious all of a sudden? Rodian's obsession is correct. While turning the clock does indeed turn the time, a certain degree of exasperating fatigue cannot be alleviated. This necessitates that we employ a certain measure to verify the status of each center. What could it possibly be that it needs to be this much build up? In other words, it is time for Limbus Company's drop dramatic gulping noise. Gee, what? Regular checkup. Regular checkup. We did get a call from the higher ups a while ago, requesting that we send the centers in for a regular checkup. It was repeatedly delayed due to several limiting circumstances on our end. They've been obnoxiously hounding us for quite some time. I was starting to get tired of explaining our absence. Checkup? What checkup? Don't be so on edge, Heathcliff. Such proceedings are regular occurrences at most corporations. I never personally experienced it myself, but it sounds like they just check it to see how they're doing health-wise. I turned around, getting ready to say, right, Isra? What's with that face? Only to come face to face with Ishmael's shocked expression frozen onto her face. Well, this is unexpected. I thought Ishmael, with her worldly experiences, would leap onto this opportunity to lecture us about how things worked outside of Limbus Company. Regular checkups are. Oh, you're gearing up to explain what it is. Cool, yeah. You got 30 seconds to wrap it up. Ready, set, go. No, not the regular checkup. What's wrong with the regular checkups? Miss Ishmael's expression seems to suggest otherwise, Miss Rodia. I did hear that some fixer offices or associations employ very... I don't know how to say that. When it comes to regular checkups, depending on their characteristics. Locked up until there is only one last standing. Locked, blood in my colleagues, the only key to escape. What kind of checkup did she have to go through? Ishmael wasn't the only one responding with a pale-faced abject horror at this question. Do you even understand what kind of regular checkup you're getting into? I'm asking if you're prepared to go through the regular checkups, no matter what happens in the process. Are you prepared to endure through everything that? What's wrong with this bloke? Now, it's looking all pale. I don't understand why everyone is making such a big deal out of this. I don't think it's that bad. I think we used to have annual health checkups back at school too. What kind of checkups? You put us all in the same room, measuring heights, weights, running some basic fitness tests. Grid 3. Why forth duty seek the measures of such characteristics? Must you really ask? A full knowledge and analysis of each soldier's status is indispensable intelligence for officers to have on hand. What soldiers? I was talking about my school. Alright, so that don't explain why you need to know that, does it? Why'd they find it necessary to spray people with those stinking chemicals just to see if someone's got lice in their clothes? He must have gone through his share of rough checkups too, as a kid, I guess. Do you always keep asking questions with the most obvious answers? In fact, I've been wondering when they test us. Otis confidently marched up to the front of the center of other senators with a sort of grin, as though she'd been waiting for the very moment. The huge purpose of this checkup must be to elect a true authority amongst us? A true authority? By your parlance, true authority, could it be that you're questioning whom among us is our leader? But I'm standing right here. I'm only request that you avoid plaguing yourself with any unnecessary misunderstandings about my suggestions, executive manager. But of course, I must be faced with this declaration of that there cannot be an, I don't know, it cannot be an iota of doubt towards executive managers Dante's authority. Okay. But was this not always a topic of greater contention among us? That which of us is most fit to command this squad of sinners? Isn't it Ishmael or maybe Foss? That's what I thought too. This lack of cohesion is precisely why we always fail to face our enemies as a team. Always scrambling, always underprepared, always taken by surprise. You must always be ready to drop to the ground and give 500 push-ups. Whenever your superior commands you to do so, always maintain the willingness to sacrifice your well-being and life for the sake of the glorious victories of your allies. So I'm missing where's readiness for self-sacrifice. No one's arguing with you, Otis. Who are you even talking to? Aha, so to summarize, the regular checkup entails putting us in a small room and making us fight to the last standing. Silence fell upon us as Hung was selecting summary battle royale. I've been looking forward to this. Fuck it, I'll give you one hell of a fight. My fist used to be bloody infamous in these black streets. Fine, so that's how we're gonna do this, huh? I'm ready to roll. As this isn't. Okay, so where are we off to? That battle excuse me. The regular checkup takes place at. Sinners seem to be under some serious misunderstanding about what the regular checkups entailed, but Foss had obviously long given up on correcting them. The headquarters. The headquarters you speak of must be the headquarters of Limbus Company. Yes. Oh, we're finally getting to visit headquarters, huh? A whole year after they hired us. We should be right on time upon immediate departure. This is just serious, yet mine heart is fate prepared. Prithee, allow us some time to prepare our travels provisions. Where's the HQ anyway? Hopefully it's not too far from here. That is a secret. However, I would like to inform you that it exists in a location and accessible via Fist. I don't know. Oh, come on. How are we supposed to get there if you're not gonna tell us where it is? Inaccessible via... Okay. You're not going to suggest that we board the warp trains again, are you? I shan't ever board the warp trains again. Indeed, we will not be boarding a warp train for this journey. So are we taking the back doors or something? Yeah, good point. Let's take them doors instead. Like, sound suggestion. However, in lieu of sufficient information regarding each door, the destination may hold an element of randomness. Or due to variable nature of its activation period, this rotate in this destination may not reflect our intended or end coordinates. Or an unexpected closure mid-passage through the frame may behove us to bid the company our last farewells to embark on an untimely journey of no return. Are you sure this is a sound suggestion? Then I'd rather take that bloody terrain instead. At least we won't remember what happened once it's over and done with. Battle Royale. Further research was necessary to ensure safe transportation to the intended destinations. Further research implying that you made modifications to the back door. A close assessment, however, it would be more accurate to say that the back door was merely used as a reference. How did you even make the time for research? Weren't you doing everything with us the whole time? LCA and FOSS established multiple communications with a certain new wing experiment company. During the spare hours between our travels to garner more cooperation and efforts regarding the stabilization of the back door. A new wing? Are they looking to take over L Corp's vacancy or something? Quite sharp, Gregor, but the directions of your intuition could be improved. It is a company that's seeking to seize the imminent vacancy of the ever-declining W Corp. W Corp. Is that so? Yeah, that makes sense. Stories of W Corp's decline have been spreading more and more as of late. Now, I'm not surprised that some companies would consider this to be an opportunity. Newspapers have been also featured op-eds regarding to a possible management process of W Corp, with many of them discussing the mysterious disappearances as well. I see that they've been purely planning to take over W Corp's position as a wing, but to supplant a wing even before it falls on its own, that's certainly peculiar. They must have some secret, a scheme perhaps in the works, and to ally with such ambitious parties is the headquarters looking to start a war of the wings. I, at this moment, am not privy to such details. Ms. Otis, we needn't make predictions in such rashness. Because that W Corp has mired in troubles, both internal and external, having fallen to such desperation as to seek assistance from our company. It is no wild presumption to predict that it shall crumble ere the advent of such a violent and pandemonium. I don't know. For Indian impatience, the main of technology that brings ruination to those that fail to overcome it. Our research efforts, however, were quite efficient and successful. Its mechanisms are similar to that of backdoor, but it eliminates the corridor and instead establishing a direct connection from one door to another, a portal, if you were. Going on. So you resolved all the aforementioned side effects then? Not quite. Similar difficulties to to the aforementioned cases were observed. Sometimes the accuracy of the large target destination coordinates were lacking, or in the case of the activation product period would be cut short, causing the door to prematurely inamputate the subject as they were transferring between doors. Oh, hi there. The manager of Montmartre. Oh, hi there. There has been much progress in stabilization efforts. However, minimizing detection incidents, most recent incidents have been limited to bisections. What does it say? Bisection certainly is an improvement over pentasection. They both sound equally awful to me. Sob, I would not behold mine own left and right shoes securely sundered, forced to be so far apart upon our own coming to the headquarters. Well. All this idle chattel of unnecessary concerns tells me that your bus life may have been too uneventful. Looks like the research arrived while you were wasting time. I saw a large and unfamiliar vehicle through the window. Is that the vehicle? It's got no windows though. How tiresome. Now off the bus. Okay, I'm not sure how much there is. More, is there more intervals, or is it only just one? The vehicle can't be that bad. Once we disembarked the bus, we made our way to the unfamiliar vehicles of sorts. Its interior was most metallic, filled to the brim with convoluted looking machines. On the opposite end of the entrance, a massive door loomed over us. This is assistance from P Corp in the process of developing this device was indispensable. Wait, that means in cohorts with young Sarah, are you? Holy day, much I did aspire to regale her with the tale of Contract's glorious completion of mine. Your resume and bravery. 'Tis quite unfair of thee to meet her all by the loathsome young boss. Your concerns will be taken into account next time. Lost since we live. Worry thee not, for thus has filled the sites of Limbus Company headquarters. Thy teeth hath been tatted for. What is this? There are numerous reasons for which you were yet to be allowed to the headquarters, but as it would be a fruitless effort to explain them all, we will not cover the subject here. If you're glad to hear we're not sitting through another lecture. Primary reason, however, that there will several limitations to bring the members of our department to the headquarters brought upon the frequent transnest movements and irregular scheduling of our missions. Why'd you say all that if you were going to explain it? Why'd you say? Oh, it's why. Wait, more importantly, what's that about collaborating with P Corp? Boy, here we go again. P Corp's singularity can be summarized by the following four words: expansive space warping, technology. Oh right, didn't you say, Miss Sarah? Thought you something that how the principles of P Corp's singularity is how La Mancha line works? Really? Right, La Mancha land was much larger on the inside than it looked from the outside. Yo, yeah, I've been meaning to ask. Don't other wings already make liberal use of different kinds of space expanding singularities? How should I put this? Isn't it a bit too mundane for city tech for P Corp to call space manipulation a unique thing? That was quite the intelligent question. Compliments, how nice. Ishmael is correct in suggesting that technology to expand a given space and commonly employed technology by other wings as well. An example of such one invention making use of this space expansion technology, but isn't a P Corp singularity, would be Yeah, the boss. The ultimate purpose of P-Core's space expansion technology is to create the safest place in the world. A perfectly protected construct, and its interior is sheltered from the outside world, no matter how severely its exterior is battered. To have a sound structural integrity, no matter what, its interior is safe from any and all harm. Therefore, the more expensive the P-Core project is, the safer its interior is from damaging outside conditions, such as extreme pressure or shock. Perhaps the way in which the interior is completely insulated from the outside is comparable to a full disconnect from the outside world by sheltering a separate dimension. In conclusion, the exterior of this vehicle utilizes P-Corp singularity, which means that it can protect its interiors from all forms of impact, not to mention that it had enough rooms to hold more than 13 people inside. Don't dimensional trunks or containers also transport things to other dimensions? Snake? Why are you freezing up all of a sudden? There was this creepy story that used to circulate among kids back when I was at school. Here's how it goes. So a divat associate employee makes a delivery to a house and looks away for a second. And a curious kid crawls into the carrier trunk and... I'm gonna stop the story here. Look, that story kept me all night for a whole week, okay? I'm gonna stop having nightmares about that scenario where... Like, come on, sometimes a story just a story. Not necessarily. Unfortunately, the story that inspired Sinclair's week-long nightmares was most likely an accurate retelling of a true story. Several regulations were added to HANA and DAVAT's association rules to prevent cases of people being stored in dimensional containers. From a certain perspective, it may be said that the warp technology employed by W Corp shares a degree of similitude. Sorry. Parallel lies and the fact that it also transports humans to a different dimension, the difference being that they are packaged in a safer manner. Therefore, perhaps enough of a connection exists to say that they operate on the same scale. Anywho, the point is that we'll always access to the quarters as long as we have this vehicle thing, right? This will certainly make the logistics of communication and supply much more convenient. One question, however, does the company plan to move this instrument, as I expect that would be much trouble on its own? Has that data been hashed out yet? No. In order to establish a more tangible level of communication with Limbus Company headquarters, an effective means of transportation such as the vehicle will be installed in the nest across the city. In summary, an efficient means of transportation such as this vehicle here, developed using P-Corp and W Corp technology, will gradually be installed at various points across the city and in every nest. Of course, the technology is still experimental. It's astronomically expensive to install and operate. Virgilus gave us a firm clarification of activating Nile. Boss tinkers with various machines and contraptions with the vehicle, and the giant door from earlier began to tremble, making a loud noise. Wherefore is that gate over yonder shutting so? Energy is now linked, routing toward that gate. With the guard displays around the glowing door, the door began to slowly open. Entering now. When it fully opened, Foss made her way inside like it was another door. Well, let's follow her inside. There was a bizarre and incomprehensible noise of machines coupled with low and droning noise. Yes, we have arrived. Welcome to the Limbus Company headquarters. This place is teeming with people dressed in all sorts of odd outfits, walking briskly between their busy schedules. I heard heavy doors opening and closing from here and there, alongside the odd sensation I've been feeling from time to time. Is the floor of the LCE department. LCE? Hopefully we get to proudly stride in the HQ's front gate one day. So in the LCE area then. Oh, it's just all these guys again.
채워지지
Oh,
않을
wait,
공허를
okay.
남겨주지.
Oh, it's him! It's him from Walpurgis Night or something like that. Wait, are we waiting for something to happen, or are we all suddenly unfamiliar with the concept of introducing ourselves? Given that no one appears to be willing to introduce me, allow me the liberty of self-introduction. My name is Han, the chief researcher of this company. To be precise, he is the chief researcher of this LCE department. To be more precise, I am the chief researcher responsible for the entirety of Limbus Company. The entirety. To be even more precise, the only reason he retains that role is because he's saying that I have been excluded from the research personnel files due to our status as the sinners. Someone must stay behind to continue the research after all. Aha, so you two are friends. Since it's entirely unnecessary to establish a label on this relationship, it could be said that we are acquaintances who routinely and unwillingly maintain a regular level of communication with one another. I'm in agreement for the first time since we were acquainted. Alright, that our department has researched out several times to yours to remind you of the regular checkup. The nature of the LCB department necessities that we're constantly on the move from one nest to another, which makes it rather difficult for us to give you an immediate reply. I would have bet someone like you to already been well aware of this obvious detail. Yes, I was very well aware. I am also quite aware of the fact that your department has been giving us the same reply over and over again, like an answering machine. This must be Dante, the executive manager of the Limbus Company Sinners. I would like to say hi and nice to meet you, but I don't suppose he can hear what I'm saying. The manager extends their greeting. Charmed, it is grueling and arduous work to be in a position of leadership, especially when the communication issues have come into play. Sometimes I cannot help but wonder if my researchers and I are speaking even the same language. I do. Okay. How odd their clothes are. Wow, that's some weird clothes. Tacky ones. Yes, allow me to introduce you all to Martin and Lisa. Two of the few reachers directly in my command. Are they wearing gear attached from abnormalities? But how? Happy to have someone who recognizes them. Are they like gear scavenged from former L Corp? The former L Corp? Well, there are partial similarities to the gears, enough differences present to distinguish them. Indeed, we attempted our own brand of extraction successfully, I might add. While the news of production of Ego Gear and Limbus Company styles was already received, this is the very first time they are observed in person. So you must have abnormalities contained in the facility. So that's why I've been sensing abnormalities in here, huh? Well, I'm sensing distortions in particular too. Indeed, as they are containment and research subjects for LCD department as well. Particularly observed the Ego Gear Honenham was wearing exceptionally harsh judge in a fashion contest. Apart from a few imperfections of the finish, the level of extraction visible is quite acceptable. Input appreciated. This product of thousands of repeated experiments and subsequent failures that have been meticulously conducted and studied in order to extract a simple level of stability. But at the end of the day, I did it like I always do. You did it? Are you sure you want to take all the credit when your team is standing right behind you? We're used to it. Oh, pissed off. I'm going mad surrounded by these self-absorbed twats. I'm just about ready to get violent on some poor bastard. Let's get on with the checkup so we can get back on the bus, yeah? I feel the very same urges that you express. There is much we must cover, regrettably, given that this is the first ever regular checkup as a group since your employment. Boss also does not wish to pass more time without substance, so let's begin. Very well, our first task shall be to assess your abilities in response to emergency situations. Oh wait, he just pressed something. Emergency situations? The walls of the laboratory suddenly started spreading and separating and sliding into place. When it settled, I realized that it had locked centers away in some kind of hold, isolating them from me, Virgilus and Keren. What the hell? This is just an ambush. Yes, it is. The purpose of the test is to measure your behaviors, response in case of a surprise attack, so ambush it. Wait, this was discussed before, Virgilus? You looked anxious, Dante. Well, I suppose you weren't let in on this either. I wasn't for your information. Just go with the flow, Dante. So it goes with to be an apt response. I'll find a room somewhere where Karen I might sit down and enjoy some nice tea. Come find me with Foss once this is over. Karen wants cake too. Oh hey, we got some leftover cake from my last office party. Come to this way, please. An employee appeared and led Virgilus and Karen away into a nearby office room. Hello. Okay, so this is the regular checkup, huh? Let's get this done with. Three ways. Doesn't seem that bad.
불가 위야 막아내지 못하리.
Yeah, those are really easy. Some are tanky, some are not. So. Ooh. Oh.
불가 위야 막아내지 못하리.
Okay, this is really. Oh wait, hold on. There's a lot of enemies in this one. Oh, you're right.
필중 의지만 있다면 해상탑 철침탄
Didn't take that long.
임상시험 성공.
Okay. And finish him off real sure. I stand corrected, don't. I don't think I need support for this one. And now it's just for these ones. Shouldn't be that hard. very time consuming though. Very time consuming.
엎드리도록. 태어난 곳으로 돌아와.
Okay.
잠깐처리 대기.
It's time for these ones. Prideful. Okay, thank you, Ryoshi. And finish him off. You hurry up. Okay. That didn't take long. Went through various checks, including command ability trials using Tequila and Vide. Park Manager Esquire, he-ho. I have attained a score most perfect. Most perfect. To be surpassed by Miss Don Quixote in a contest of knowledge. Must I delve further in my studies? Hey, you saying, bud? They were testing our fixer association knowledge, huh? Honestly, she got more than enough fixer fixation for the entire bus. All kinds of general knowledge, trivia quizzes. What's the first thing you gotta focus on when meeting a new person? The look in their eyes, how strong they look. Bloody hell, this ain't easy. Your leadership style is strong, decisive, and goal-oriented. You are most. We were finally allowed to a quick break after they going through all kinds of mysterious, strange personality tests as well. Next, basic fitness test for all sinners. We can finally get started on the real meat of the checkup. Wait, then were all of those tests you guys were running us? They were conducted in order to collect various data that the LCD department had been missing. In other words, we capitalized on this opportunity to fill our private curiosities. Still, I'd say it was very productive. I know a lot about you guys now. That'll help us support the LCB going forward. Alright, we're going over some tests that can be conducted in boots first. Please form a line here. What, like this? Let's get this over with. Looks like we got a long day ahead of us. Wow, these are some comfy clothes they be giving us. Right? I can totally see myself wearing these to sleep. Sleep, the LCD property, so you better return them as soon as we're done here. Gotcha, by the way, can I take a look at my wrist here before we actually get started? I've been feeling a bit soreness there, but Dante will turn the clock for just me, you know? Turning off the clock with such frivolities may cause the formation of an unfavorable habit, perhaps. But a salt can remedy your pain. I'm prepared to administer the necessary aid should you request it. Actually, you know what? I'm totally fine now. Don't you worry. Please stand still if you think I can't see some of you on your tiptoes. Be very wrong. Heels on the ground, please. But my heels are on the ground. B. And can you snuff out your cigarette before the test begins? This one isn't lit. It's just there so I can... Cool. Aha. And what about... Well, that's Graham. Okay, so the basic group tests are complete. I seem to have forgotten something quite important I had established prior to beginning the tests in earnest. I need an assistant. I need an assistant to help me smooth out the test procedures. You got two of them already, right behind you if you need directions. We're not Mr. Honenheim's assistants. We're specifically here as we're simply assistant researchers. Yes, of course, there's much distinction between these two occupations. Yeah, I would like for one of you to become my assistant for the duration of this checkups. Radia suddenly raised her hand. I wasn't planning on asking for volunteers, but now that you've raised your hand, I'll give you the floor. You'll ask me to do it, just it's not my vibes, you know? I'll take a receipt stop though. Big fan of her style. Roger tailed off, grittingly caressing the clothes of one of the new researchers. But what are you doing? I don't really have you in mind anyway, but duly noted nonetheless. I would also like to refuse your nomination. Position of an assistant for Hanheim implies that the assistant is, when it comes to skill, inferior to the person they are assisting. Again, I didn't have you in mind either, but your passionate expression of intent is nonetheless appreciated. Just, I wonder who came up with this brilliant idea of putting two smartasses together to waste time pointing out on each other's minor mistakes. If we were to talk about myself, I would open by saying that I was a class vice president in a school, a diligent model student who is, as I say, seriously facilitated the tasks of the class president and ahem. What's with everyone getting so anxious to get picked here? Feels actually want to be his assistant, getting in the front of and center of things. It's just kind of felt like I had to apply for the position for some reason. When the decision has already been made, do note that selection criteria is fully based on my very subjective opinion. You there, orange-haired sinner? Oh, it's Ishmael. Ishmael almost threw me to the ground as she confidently strode up to the front of the line. Oof. Greatest person Hanahan, as you must be aware if you've taken a look at my documents, I rarely let anyone down during my various tenures and office associations. You have nothing to be worried as long as I'm by your side. Also, can I add this experience to my resume if I ever get a chance to submit a transfer request to work at the headquarters? Didn't know you were still holding on to that hope. I kind of knew to ask to move, but because you were standing right in front of the center, I chose. Oh! Oh! Who's the center? Who's the center? Everyone turned around still. Oh, it's Heathcliff. Who was absently minded, scratching at the bridge of his nose. Huh? Me? Huh? Me? It seemed that Ishmael was even more shocked than Heathcliff was. Wait, but what? Why? I'm right here. Why would you pick someone like... It is common misconception among many researchers to assume that the higher the level of education and the more elaborate the resume, the better candidate one makes for a research project for project participant. Well, that's just common sense, isn't it? At least when it comes to research. However, were you aware that most great discoveries are made from content of mix of spontaneity and intuition? A perfect descriptor from our friend here, I would say. What'd you say, Heathcliff? I believe this discretion and passionate approach of yours gives you more than a sufficient qualification to command and lead them in my stead. Is that right? He replied, scratching his head. Be honest now, you're saying you were kind of looking forward to getting picked, weren't you? It is, but fates were once good in the eyes of the mainstream are to be less made and desirable with the time passage. And one does indeed fall out of favor the intelligence. What is that? The bygone days most widely excuse themselves to the realm of memories and past. Easting replied with a particularly downcast look. I'm glad to have you on board as my new assistant. Righty-ho, so what have I got to do now? Nothing too complicated. You only need to liberally express your free spirit, just as you are now. Aha! Now I see what he's doing. Him sure knows which one of them groups to make them go over smoothly. Martin whispered quietly at me in a voice that I can only hear. Only I can hear.
모처럼 괜찮은 예술을 보나 했더니 벌써 목, 애를 전부 채웠군.
Okay then.
방지할 사고도 해야 할 뒤처리도 없나. 돌아가지.
Piglet seemed eager to as Unhine as had suggested, express his free spirit to the best of his capabilities. Alright, either get in line, single file, lads. Let's make this easy for all of us. But aren't you also participating in the test with the rest of us, Heathcliff? Yeah, but I'm the assistant. Since when did you wear glasses? Fucking hell. Glasses are basic apparatuses of all researchers. Look, slightly pushing up on the glasses helps to put us on the air of studious, learned individual like so. Just like how slightly pushing up the frames of my glasses while wondering what to have for lunch makes it seem as though I'm contemplating on the more profound aspects of life. Or let's not make this any harder than it's gotta be. Last, snuff out that snake in your mouth. Been on since I heard a pig squeal. Mommy, can't you do as I say for once? Oh, he's actually pretty effective. Seems that we are now ready to conduct the test, finally. Primary purpose of this test is to see on a physical level how your current abilities scale compared to yourselves before your hiring. I see it. So they're trying to see how much they've progressed since before they joined the company. I had a feeling this would happen, but the mere mention of the words progression caused a rather loud ruckus among the sitters. If I were to speak of myself, executive manager, I can confidently say that though the thought of progressing as a person in all aspects of his life is ingrained into my very being. And thus, as a fruit of those efforts, I have grown to be more precise and scathing in my critique of other mistakes. Is that progress, though? Perhaps I have learned to let certain thoughts rest in favor of others. I have once allowed myself to be trapped in ever-long ruminations. On worries of all manners, idly abiding as I was consumed by my very thoughts. Now I have come to accept certain things as they are. Ooh. And I've come to sometimes allow my mind to form a religious reason, floating away gently as though on a rolling stream. Is that not quite pleasant? Okay, I guess that is progression of sorts. Pretty sure I'm a less of a big eater than I used to be. Okay, yeah. My Gertrude is much stronger too. Ooh. Look, I think I'm getting calluses on my palms. Oh, you don't really have to try to prove it to us. Because the enemies we're fighting have been getting stronger too. That's an undeniable truth. We did experience a pretty spectacular year, you know. A brutal yet so potent with significance. Oh, hello. True. I guess growth really does come with time, huh? Right, I feel like the bonds between us got a lot deeper. We all have grown so closer, you know, like glue. Like glue, huh? I like it. A certain misunderstanding seems to be brewing in tandem with the uplifting exchange of heart to heart. Allow me to step in and nip it in the bud. Let me give it to you straight. All of your abilities were diminished the moment you were hired by this company. Equally defanged and depowered, if you will. Equally defanged? In other words, all of your abilities have been brought down to the same general level as our 11th sinner here. Why am I your point of reference? If this is what you meant earlier by growing closer like glue, then I suppose it was quite the apt choice of word. Or take that back. I take it back. Not. So you're not really that much stronger than I am, huh? Ooh, pick. Is that the sound of your sentence of self-president chatting into the aether? That's it, you bloody cunt. Excuse me, I need to know why that happens. Did we all get depowered because of that golden bow? Wait, does that have anything to do with those chains that appeared when we first entered a contract with Dante? Indeed, one of the powers of a golden bow is connection. You are now all fairly evenly and equally mediocre. Heim's comment and subsequent stare seemed a bit targeted. Think of it as something akin to Kleifof's turrets employed by the Lobotomy Corporation. So the truth is finally revealed. This was why I, Otis, grew so pathetically weak the moment I joined this company. And are those implying that the host has always known? Of course, had I been in my prime, I could have wiped the floor with you miserable doormats in a matter of seconds. You wipe floors with doormats. Man, we're all so prone for saying whatever once the burden is burden of proof is gone. So that time my mother's arm has been quiet ever since they fired me. It didn't really have anything to do with my heart, after all. Wait, what's the use of this? What's the use of all this chatter? What matters is that we all been brought down to the level of the slab. But I've got calluses on my palms. Yet not all of the golden bow's effects must have been a detriment to us. Each thing started carefully attempting to navigate through a conversation that appeared to be turning into a tinderbox. Was it not the advantages granted us by the golden balls impaled in Palladwell of the Great Lake by which we triumphed? Well, really? Correct. Had the Palladwell had been at its full strength, it is highly likely that we may still have been trapped inside its stomach, struggling to survive. Also, it can be said that the diminishing effect was not applied in equal measure across all affected subjects. Sancha? Finally, I think of Cal when I hear one in him. Sounds like a name. Cal. It makes sense, I guess. I never could have knocked Heath out with one punch if I was only as strong as Sing. It's a real handy trick, you know? Additionally, certain individuals' quirks cannot be suppressed by the golden bow. Certain quirks that one may consider to be an individual's. I'm not saying that. So that explains Ryoshi's impressive blade work, Mr. Bumble back at the T-Corp factory. Won't waste my breath boasting. You never do anyway. Well, if your strength have indeed progressed since onboarding, then the average must have risen as well. One of the purposes of these tests is to measure that very difference. So that what goes exactly into these tests? Now I know there's a district that uses a machine that can analyze most aspects of the subject with a quick scan. So it is going to be something like that. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of ways to determine one's abilities without the assistance of machining. And in fact, I know a perfectly appropriate methodology for this group. Perfectly appropriate methodology, or whatever. We spent some time out of our busy schedules to tailor each task of our centers for each centers of the LCB. That was pretty tough. Tailored tests for each centers, huh? I don't really like the sound of that, if you ask me. We Picula and the distortions phenomenon. Does this sound much like super innovative method, like you were building up to, with a letdown? Right, honestly, for all the talk, I thought they may come up with a situation that more recent than that. Assistant. Alright, that's enough. Chatter, now get in there. Oh, it's 15 though. It's 15, okay. Oh. Do you have anything?
언제든 말뚝을 수입합니다.
I don't have my thing leveled up right now, so. Oh, let's see. First one on the blocks. Oh. Heathcliff had already begun flipping through the pages in his hands when an unfamiliar sight. Right, you and you there. Inside now. Heathcliff, the assistant, pointed towards Honglu and Sinclair. Hello, 1-2 testing. Am I coming through? She must be well aware by now. The particular entities that fail to even distort. It seems like we'll be fighting the particular again. Oh right, I have a question. It's something that's been nagging at me the whole time since I've arrived. That's a thing. Aren't these tests basically just us killing people for no reason? Maybe. They're all safely contained, which means that they don't pose any danger to anyone. Why is he being such a bleeding heart all of a sudden? Oi, you gotta slot. You've been slotting countless scores of these slots before. So what's the hold up now? Yeah, but we didn't have any choice back then, but because they were on a mission. You believe that taking a life to life to live is unlike taking a life for the sake of it? I do. I understand. It seems that human memory is, after all, made to be finite. Save for exceptional individuals, people are prone to misplacing memories, even from yesterday. So who are they, Dante? Who do you believe they are? This group you lead? Given the expected communication difficulties between us, allow me to make this a multiple choice question. 1 family, 2 friends, 3 colleagues. I guess they're closest to colleagues? Huh? Dante says 3 colleagues. Hongwen was practically squished against the containment window. Holding up 3 of his fingers, he must have heard us talking. Incorrect, none of the above. The truth is, they are sinners, not family, not friends, not colleagues, prisoners. I know. But the knowledge of something and the excesses of it must be distinguished. I learned that people are prone to forgetting their places when the going gets easy. Life gets comfortable enough for them to consider the luxury. Our timely meals to be certainty. Thus, I find these reminders to be quite useful. The sinners bound to Limbus Company are still fettered by their chains and shackles. Naturally, they have no access to such things as the right to refuse. Or would it be easier for you to accept the fact that if I were to struggle that you consider this but a mere extension of your responsibilities? I know they're sinners, but you can't talk to them like... Okay? Translations are unnecessary. I think I get the picture of what was said. Given the atmosphere of this room, Dante, when you agreed to the contract, you must have made a deal of sorts to gain something to your benefit. Am I correct? Your memories, your head, and your past. There's so much you will like to know, and perhaps your desire to get them back is what stops you from simply quitting. What I mean to say with this little demonstration is that no one in this room has any right to grumble or refuse. Plus, as usually, yes, this is his usual demeanor. Hello, I know I'm not the one to talk, but you don't exactly have a lot of friends, do you? Those who rise above the peers tend to attract a certain degree of hostility from others. Now, shall we begin? We are severely behind schedule. While the combatants do what they do, please pay attention to the following presentation about the particular directors onto this last panel. This lecture has been prepared with the assumption that students have an average level of knowledge, so if you consider this presentation to be boring or too difficult to understand, then you may consider your knowledge level to be below average. Oh, this material seems quite elementary to me. Not sure what's so difficult about this. Yeah, save that for when the lecture actually starts. As you must already know, there are 7 categories of particular. As far as I'm aware, the only highest stage of particular you observed was in stage 3, so far at least. Wherefore does stay utter a little muttering of so far at least at the end of the language. Good sir. Sharp, well, it's simple. We researchers have the habit of avoiding absolutes in all things. Never say so they say. You're not ruling out the possibility that we might be running into particular beyond stage 3, huh? Indeed, we prefer not to put down any arbitrary limitations. Anyways, the first type of many particular to be covered today is particular error, red particulum of wrath. The initial fire is to burn and burn until there's nothing left to be burned. I see, they're quite literally burning with rage. Now that I think back on it, didn't you express something like that before, Sinclair? I remember you screaming so fiercely that you could hardly control your body. On the other hand, I don't think I've ever seen you get angry or upset, Honko. Aha, that's... because the realization of meaningless extinguishes the reason for the spark to start a fire. Oh, so I see now. No matter how much Heathcliff or Miss Otis bullies me, Expressing my anger at that is meaningless at the end of the day. Okay, I did enjoy it a little when I had to accidentally step on the Heathcliff's toes, but what exactly is the takeaway supposed to be here? That is exactly how it is. Okay, I guess we're fighting now. Don't tell me. Yep, you did. Okay. Today is not my day. Gonna take a bit to load. If it doesn't do anything for like the next few minutes, I'm gonna. Wasn't that great? Okay. Okay, I can't even do that too. Uh, Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's great. Actually, yeah, that's perfect. Perfect. Oh, well. Yeah, yeah, perfect. I'm just gonna end stream right here. The next stream is gonna be about Kanto A. I'm done. I don't feel like reading. I don't feel like reading this one. There's no voices, nothing. Like I'll know the lore though. I'll still read it. It's just that I don't really feel like speaking about it. Yeah. So the next stream is gonna be about Kanto A. Bye.